In a busy part of Ibadan, where generators hummed louder than conversations and evenings smelled like roasted corn and petrol fumes, Damilola met Zainab on a day that wasn't supposed to matter. It was outside a small roadside cafe, the kind where plastic chairs wobble and the fan never really works. She was arguing with the vendor about change. He laughed before he could stop himself. Zainab turned, annoyed at first, then curious. That was how it started. No fireworks, no dramatic music, just two people who felt strangely comfortable standing beside each other. Damilola was used to struggle, hustle, long days. Zainab made life feel softer. Within weeks, she knew his routines. Within months, she knew his fears. And within all that time, there was always one other person around, Kunle. Kunle wasn't just a friend, he was family. They grew up on the same street, shared food when money was tight, dreamt the same dreams until life began choosing for them. Kunle was the one who introduced Damilola to everyone, the one who said proudly, "That's my guy," since way back. When Zainab entered the picture, Kunle smiled wide. "Ah, finally! So this is the girl that made you disappear." Everyone laughed. No one noticed the pause in Kunle's eyes. Kunle made it his duty to be everywhere. When Damilola and Zainab went out, Kunle somehow ran into them. When they argued, Kunle already knew. When Zainab was quiet, Kunle asked questions Damilola hadn't asked yet. At first, Zainab thought it was care. Until one evening, Kunle said casually, "You don't like pepper too much, you prefer it light." Zainab froze. She had never told him that. She laughed it off. But slowly, she began noticing things. Kunle watched Damilola when Zainab held his hand. Kunle went quiet when they made future plans. Kunle always reminded Damilola of how things used to be, before all this relationship wahala. Still, Damilola trusted him completely. "That's just Kunle," he'd say. "He's always been there." But some people stay, not because they want you happy, but because they don't want to be replaced. The problems didn't come suddenly, they arrived gently. Damilola started cancelling dates. "Kunle needs me, Kunle isn't okay, I'll make it up to you." Zainab nodded again and again. One night, after waiting alone at a buka for almost an hour, Zainab left quietly. Later that night, Kunle sent her a message. "He didn't mean to hurt you, life is just heavy for him." She stared at the phone. She had not told Kunle anything. The next day, she asked Damilola directly, "Do you tell Kunle everything about us?" Damilola smiled. "Ah, no, why would I?" That was the first crack. Because she could feel it. Someone else was sitting inside their relationship. The turning point came on a quiet night. Zainab went to surprise Damilola at Kunle's place. As she stood outside the gate, she heard Kunle's voice clearly. "Just remember, I was here before she came." Silence. Then Damilola replied softly, "I know." Zainab's heart sank. She didn't knock, she didn't shout, she walked away. Later that night, she asked gently, "Have you ever fought with Kunle because of me?" Damilola didn't hesitate. Never. But Zainab had already seen it in his eyes. That hesitation that comes after a lie, not before it. That was the moment the story changed. Because love can survive distance, it can survive stress, but it struggles when someone else is quietly pulling the strings. And the most dangerous jealousy is the one that pretends to be loyalty. It was a simple mistake. Damilola's phone battery died and Kunle handed him his own to make a call. As Damilola scrolled to find his contact, a notification slid down the screen. Zainab. Not a missed call, a message. "I'm tired, Kunle. I don't know how much more I can take." Damilola froze. He didn't mean to read more, but his thumb moved anyway. Long messages, late-night timestamps, comfort, reassurance. Nothing romantic, but everything intimate. When Kunle returned and saw Damilola's face, he sighed. "I knew this day would come." That sentence sounded prepared. Kunle didn't shout, didn't defend himself aggressively. He simply said, "I was trying to help." Kunle spoke like someone carrying a burden. "She comes to me when you are not there. I didn't want her to feel alone." Damilola felt something twist in his chest. "Why didn't you tell me?" Kunle looked hurt. "Because you are proud, and because I didn't want you to feel threatened." That word stuck, threatened. Kunle continued, "Ask yourself, would she even be talking to me if she felt safe with you?" That question did the damage, because it made Damilola blame himself. When Damilola confronted Zainab, his voice wasn't angry, it was tired. "Why, Kunle?" Zainab tried to explain. "He listens when you disappear. That sentence landed like a slap. Damilola heard betrayal. Zainab meant survival. So I'm the problem now? She shook her head. I just needed someone. Silence. That night, Zainab realized something painful. She was fighting two people who had already chosen each other. Zainab didn't pack everything, just the essentials. No shouting, no long speech. She left a note. I love you, but I can't keep explaining my pain to people who don't hear it. Damilola read it twice. Kunle was there, always there. She'll calm down, Kunle said. She always does. But she didn't. Weeks passed, then months. Zainab never returned. And slowly, Damilola's world shrank. Friends faded, relationships failed, opportunities passed. Kunle remained, constant, unmoving. People praised the loyalty, but no one noticed the cost. Because sometimes the person who stays is the reason everyone else leaves. After Zainab left, everybody expected drama. They expected Damilola to lose weight, stop bathing, post sad quotes, maybe even beg. None of that happened. Instead, Damilola became funny. Not intentionally, it was the kind of humor people develop when they're tired of explaining pain. At the beer parlor down the street, someone joked, "Guy, hot breakdown upgrade your comedy." Damilola laughed. At least something good came out of it. Kunle laughed the loudest, always the loudest. Kunle became the permanent fixture in Damilola's life. Morning, Kunle was there. Evening, Kunle was there. Weekend, Kunle already planned it. If Damilola wanted to go out, Kunle knew where. If he wanted to stay in, Kunle already bought food. People started teasing. "When I don't marry," Kunle replied quickly, "better marriage than wrong woman." Everybody laughed. Damilola did not. That night, alone in his room, Damilola checked his phone. No missed calls, no messages. He typed Zainab's name. Nothing came up. He sighed. What he didn't know was simple. Earlier that week, Kunle had borrowed his phone to check something. Zainab's number was blocked. Quietly, neatly. Kunle's reputation grew. Neighbors praised him. Damilola's mom called him a good boy. "This one stood by you when that girl left." Kunle nodded humbly. Family is everything. But Kunle didn't just stay. He controlled. He answered calls meant for Damilola. "He's resting, I will tell him." He filtered invitations. "That crowd is not good for you." He repraised messages. She didn't sound serious. Whenever Damilola hesitated, Kunle reminded him, "I was there when you had nothing." It sounded like loyalty, but it felt like a debt. One evening, Damilola mentioned casually, "I might travel next month." Kunle smiled, then laughed. "Travel where? With what purpose?" The laugh was light, the question was not. That night, Damilola lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. For the first time since Zainab left, a strange thought crossed his mind. Why does my life feel smaller, even though I'm not alone? Outside, Kunle was on the phone, whispering, "Don't worry, he's still here." Kemi didn't enter Damilola's life gently. She entered laughing. Loud, carefree laughter, the kind that made people turn and look, then smile without knowing why. They met at a POS stand. The network was bad. The queue was long. Everyone was complaining. Kemi turned around and said, "If this POS fails again, I'm collecting interest from everybody here." People laughed. Damilola laughed the hardest. He noticed. "You laugh like someone who has suffered." That line alone should have warned him. They started talking. Kemi didn't ask about his past, didn't tiptoe, didn't apologize for existing. When Damilola mentioned Kunle later that evening, Kemi raised an eyebrow. "Your friend sounds like a manager." Damilola laughed. "He just cares." Kemi shrugged. Care is not control. That night, Kunle saw Damilola smiling at his phone, and something in him tightened.